Alright, what's up guys? We're doing a new style here. The lighting's gonna be a little weird because I gotta film downwards. This time right now I'm just kinda putting this intro in here. I'm gonna show you how I grade my books, my Silver Age books in my collection. And so I just want to record this intro. So what I'm gonna show you is I'm gonna show you how I grade. There's 4 books over here. I'm gonna probably just shoot with probably just the lowest and the highest grade of the 2 of them. And then just do the others off camera and stuff. We're going to eventually send these to CGC, at least a couple of them. Probably not worth sending, but they're good practice when you get a real book that you, the more you grade books, the better you get at it. So I just grabbed this one out here that I'm not going to send to CGC because it's a black cover. And sometimes you just got to practice. So sorry for the shitty lighting, so I'm going to do this. I have the books over here. On the table next to me is all the stuff that I use whenever I grade, so we're going to go over that too. It'll be a little bit longer video, but hopefully it'll be a little bit helpful to you. Maybe helpful to me even. Like I said, it's just good practice. And it's just something, I'm grading books tonight, and I figured I might as well share it with you guys. So if you ever need help grading, hopefully this will help you out. If you watch it, I'm just going to say this at the beginning. I'm not an expert. I'm just going to go over what I look for. And like I said, I'm using this for practice as well, so hopefully I can get a little bit better. If I'm wrong about something, tell me. It'll help me out too. It'll help everybody. So without any more of me rambling on, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start off here with the essentials, or just tools that I use. So let's go ahead, and there's going to be a cut right here. We're going to get a different camera angle. I won't be on camera for most. Alright, so this table is all of the tools that I use for whenever I go to grade my books. So you see the first thing you're probably going to jump out on here is the 2 graded slabs. These are just strictly used for comparison. I, being somebody that is not an expert at this, still rely on comparing covers and such things like that and page qualities. It's good help for most people that are, young or new to the game of grading their comics and sending them out to CGC. I have the MacBook over here that we use for all of our editing and stuff. It's over here for check if any of these books have the Marvel value stamp that needs to be there, how many pages are supposed to be in the book, all the stuff that you probably won't just have memorized. You can always look it up on the internet. So hopefully we don't need this. I don't think any of these books are going to have like a value stamp or any inserts in there that are supposed to be there. Some of them might have a pin-up though. One's an annual, so I'm sure there's probably something in there that we're going to need to make sure is in there. Purell, this isn't necessary. I have it over here just in case. It's always good, especially during a pandemic. Stay clean. You want your stuff. You don't want to accidentally have any dirt and stuff or something that you don't know is on your hand that can get into there on a page, and you never know what could mess it up. So you got Purell on your hands. I have gloves. You do not have to use gloves. I use gloves for stuff like I have FF20 over here. It's a low-grade comic. I don't want to get anything on it, so I have gloves here, just regular standard gloves. And this is a UV light. So the UV light will come in later when we're checking the older books. What you do for a UV light, though, the UV light, just now, in case you happen to click off, the UV light I use on the older books that you can tell that are pretty beat up in rough shape. You shine it on the spine or all over the cover, all that color touch, any extra glue that's on there will pop right out. So hopefully we don't see any of that today. I'll cry a little bit. All of these books I purchased at comic shops, or one of them came off Instagram. None of them were graded before, so this will be the first time I give any of these in grades. So we'll see how we've done with these books. So let's go ahead and pan on over here, and I am going to show you the 4 books that we'll be grading today. Oh, also before we do that, pan right back up here. I have a Softbox light, just one. I'm stupid and I broke the other one. So we're down to just one. I accidentally busted the bulb in there, so either got to pay for another one, which is expensive, or just use one for a little bit. So we're just going to use one. Alright, so it's going to be a little bit of a weird camera for a minute. I'm going to cut here and hopefully maybe get a better setup here with the tripod. Okay, so I think I found an angle that I like on here. I'm not entirely sure how well it's going to end up turning out is the thing. Getting the tripod legs and the table legs and the softbox legs all around here proved to be a little bit difficult. We're going ahead and getting our gloves on now before I take it out of the Mylar case that it's in. Before we do that, I have on my laptop over here, it's off camera, I have the mycomicshop.com contents book in there. That's where it tells you all of how many pages are supposed to be in it, how many pages the story is, how many letters pages is. For like FF, there's always a letters page. So I'm going to go ahead and scoot this table over out of my way so I can walk on this side. I think that might work a little better. So you can see me, sleeves rolled up, gloves on. We are going to go ahead and take it out here. I'm going to go ahead and just pull this tape off here just so you can just avoid any chance of a tape pull on the cover. You never want that to happen with your old keys and stuff. This is the first time this book is coming out of the Mylar since I bought it. That video is on the channel. Alright. So, set that off to the side. We won't need this for a few minutes. We set it over here. Now, I have those two CGC slabs over on the other table behind me. We won't need those for this particular comic. Those are a 5.0 and a 6.5 grade. This is absolutely nowhere near that price range. So, I'm going to move this camera real fast. See if this is you a little bit better. Tilt it a little more. Oh, here we go. That's much, much better. Okay. So the first thing we want to look at is, before we get started, just make sure everything is intact. And it looks like the spine, looks like it's all in one piece over here. Looks like, and you can tell, not going to get white pages on this one. And before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and pull out our UV light. Make sure there's no color touch on the cover. It's pretty beat up. It doesn't look like there is just to the naked eye, but sometimes your eyes will lie to you. So we're going to go ahead and click off his softbox. So it's going to get a little dark for a second, and we're going to go ahead and put it on here. So doesn't appear to be any extra glue on the spine, which is a good thing. You don't want that. And then normally you're going to see color touch around like titles or on the suits or something like that. Anywhere where it's a real heavy color, that's going to attract a lot of eye attention. And it looks to be clean on all the suits. So on this cover, you really want to look up around at the FF, where it says Fantastic Four, and you want to look at the Molecule Man and Reed. Reed stretching, Molecule Man, and Fantastic Four. Those are the eye grabs of this comic. That's where color touch is typically going to be. And I don't know how well it's showing up on the camera with the UV light, but it is clean of any color touch. And now, just in case somebody did it on the back, which I don't know why they would, I've never seen it. Quick glance, and it doesn't appear to have any. Good on that. So let's go get the softbox back on so you can see a little better. Bang. Right back. Alright, so here we go. Alright, so mycomicshop.com says there is 36 pages. So let's go ahead and see how many oh, shit. Alright, so here. There's something interesting right here. Let's get a little bit of zoom. Going in on it. Wrong direction. You can see right down here at the bottom of the first page, there's a signature. That's a little sketchy. Oh, I already cropped it out. There's a signature right down here. Well, that sucks, because that's how you get that green label from CGC. This looks like a previous owner of the book, possibly, is the one who signed this. It's Stan Lee, Jack Kirby. I don't recognize this name. It's James something. The good news is you can kind of see here on this page, I don't know how well it's picking up on the camera, but written up here on the front of the page, it's got Stan Lee, drawn by Jack Kirby, inked by Dick Ayers, and lettered by Art Smek. Lucky for us, This signature is none of those. Doesn't mean you're going to not get a green label. I'm not entirely sure if that does qualify for a green label, but if it was any of those 4 names, it would be an automatic. So that's not good. That's a rough start, and you can kind of see where the cover's not detached here at the staples yet, but it looks like it's really working on coming out loose soon. So this is one of those books that you don't want to handle too often. Definitely not going to be reading this single issue ever. But so let's just go ahead and flip through. Alright, so page 2 is there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's a little bit of a tear on this page. You want to note everything that's in this book. There's a tear right down here at the bottom. These are things that CGC will look for. Alright, so we are... So far, so good. Looks like everything is here. It looks complete. There's the centerfold right here, and it is nice and sturdy. That's a good sign. Alright, and you're going to look at these pages, and you got to judge the page quality of it as well. Page quality is not too bad. I would say cream to off-white would be my guess. Here, there you go. There's a nice little Giant Man ad. That's kind of cool. It's one of the cool things about having these old books. Alright. So this is what you really want. This is where it gets into the cool stuff. Here, right here, you got a letter from Mark Grunwald. And then I think it's on the next page. Where's it at? Here you go, right down here at the bottom. Let's zoom in on this, because this is one of the cooler things about this book in particular. Pick it up and bring it to the camera. This letter right down here, if it focuses up, it's from one George R. Martin. And what's cool about that is George R. Martin is actually George R.R. Martin, the writer and creator of One Game of Thrones. So technically this book is the first published work by George R.R. Martin. And it is complete as well, so that is a good sign. So it's not going to be incomplete, but as we noted on the very first page, there is a name. Okay, so bad news about the name, but we'll zoom in a little bit more so we can maybe get some details on this cover here. So you see up here in this corner is a whole lot of creases right here. There's a ton of creases and color breaks throughout the whole thing. That's pretty common with Silver Age books with dark covers, black, purple, even some blue and reds go. There's no Marvel chipping over here, but you can kind of see where it might start. I'm bringing it off camera to look it for myself. You can kind of see where the Marvel chipping would be, but it doesn't look like it has any of it yet. The spine of this book is, it's all there. There's a little bit of a chunk here and a chunk there, but it's all in one shape. So when you got, still got a little bit of the pop to it too, so that's good. There's a bit of a crease coming down the middle, but it doesn't have any color breaks here. You can kind of see it on this blast from the Molecule Man, I think the best. But there's a little bit of a crease. It's definitely not going to be showing up on the camera. I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, there's no color breaks on it. So this book, it's complete, cream to off-white pages. See all the stuff on the top of it. I would probably give this a 2.5 out of the back. There's no water damage. It's a little bit tan on the back, but not too bad. Let's zoom out a bit. A little bit tan, but not so bad. Like I said, you know, cream to off-white pages. They're not brittle. It's probably a 2.5 book, honestly. 2.5 on a 3.0 on a good day. One thing you also want to check for with books like this is if the defects on the cover are pressable. And I would say this crease here in the middle would probably benefit from a press. But I don't know if you want to take a risk with that spine when you pressing this book. So maybe send it out to CGC. If you get a grade you're happy with, take it. I'm going to go say 2.5 for this one. So typically I would have a comp out here for it. I would have, let's go ahead and grab this book. I would just sit it next to this and I'd hold both of them and compare. But if you can see out of these, this is a 5.0. This is a 5.0 comic. And there's not really much comparison between a 5.0 and a 2.5. So, you know, not really much point. And the other one I brought was a 6.5 out. So there's not really much sense in doing a comparison for this book. We'll do a comparison for the next one we do, because I started with the lowest grade book so we can go through and see what, you know, how the defects and stuff are like on here. I'm very concerned with this name. I didn't get a very great shot of it. But, yeah, we're pretty concerned about that signature. I'm going to have to go ask some more people that know more than me if that's going to be green label worthy or not. But, go ahead and I'm going to put it back in the poly bag, or the Mylar bag, I mean. Go ahead and try not to damage it and get it back in here. Always be careful when you're putting your books in these bags and stuff, because that's how you get a lot of dog-eared corners here on the bottom if you're not paying attention. Is you can get them just from putting them in the bags and handling them like that. So you always got to be very careful with that. So 2.5 on the Fantastic Four number 20. I didn't mention this, but Fantastic Four number 20 is the first appearance of the Molecule Man, if you didn't know. 2.0, 2.5, 2.5, 3.0 on a good day. So let's go on to the highest grade copy that we have here. We have Journey into Mystery number 120. Here, this is probably my favorite cover of the batch. I really like this cover a lot. The only other one that kind of rivals it is this Green Lantern 58. Gil Kane. Goodness, but all Jack Kirby covers and one Gil Kane cover, so a lot of Silver Age greatness here. I picked this book up yesterday at a new shop called Rock Bottom Comics in Columbia, Missouri, on East Walnut Street. Guy gave me a good deal on it. It's the first time I've ever been there, so I don't know if that helped me out financially or not. Great guy, good, decent conversation with him about comics. It's always nice to go into shops and meet new people. I was going to do a hunt video up there, but I decided against it. Decided I didn't feel like filming. I just wanted to go in and look at some cool books. And I only bought 2 books, so I didn't shoot a haul video either, because it was going to be like 2 minutes long. Alright, so Journey into Mystery 120. It's a classic Jack Kirby cover. Here, we love it. And as one we could note right off the bat, first comparison that we could make is the purple on the top. These books didn't come out at too different of a time. I think this one came out in 66, and this one came out in 63. Purple is way better. It's not the exact same shade of purple, but it's definitely a good look for this. The eye appeal, if you just looked at this, it's a high-grade comic, but let's go ahead and see what we can find out about this book. So we're going to go ahead and get our trusty UV light, so I'm going to flick this light off real fast, and we tilt the camera down to put the whole book in frame. Sorry that it's all sideways, but this is the only way I have real room to actually stand and film and grade like this. You don't want to, before I do this, you don't want to hold your UV light on your books too long. You don't want to take, and listen, if you have it on there for 30 seconds, probably not going to cause any fading off these covers, but you don't want to just take the chance either. You don't want to just blindly cost yourself money. So let's go ahead and check and see. So when you see a book like this, it's pretty high grade, but the higher grade copies sometimes have the color touch on them too. I know a lot of people like to go in and put color touch on the super low grade books, but to keep them presentable and maybe get a little bump of a grade. But color touch on a 9.6, some people will put it on there to hopefully get that 9.8, even though color touch is super easy to spot. And on a cover like this where you got several different colors, you got your blues, yellows, greens, purples, reds, oranges, grays, skin tones, man, there's so much room for it to be on a cover like this. I'm a little bit nervous, but like I said, we got a good deal, so, oh man, that's a pretty book. Don't see any color touch at all. But the one thing that you also can notice on these, when you have a light like this, I would not have noticed this little mark right here. I don't know what that is. Not color touch, but there's a little bit of a color break right there, but it's very faint. If like this, I can't even notice it. But right there, let's see if I can zoom in on it and see if you guys can see it as well. Yeah, you see right above the H in hand. You can't see it until you shine that light on it right here. So that's another thing you have with these UV lights. You can kind of see that. And there's a couple spine ticks over here. I see one right here under the armpit of this guy. I'm not a big Thor reader, so I don't know who this dude is. See one right there and two above his arm, but that looks like about it. No color touch whatsoever, man. This is a crispy cover. And then back, oh, just look how pretty this back cover is. Nothing on it. It's a really good start for Thor. Right here. It's a very good start for this book. Uh-oh. I want to do that. Let's get this light turned back on so I can see a little bit better. This will be this is gonna be a pretty long, rambly video, but hopefully you can get some knowledge out of this. So, since this is a high-grade book, before we start flipping through and everything, I want to go ahead and get one of these books I brought out. I'm going to get this Fantastic Four one out, and we're going to compare it. So, I'm not sure how well this is going to show up on camera. Like I said, I've never recorded it when I do this before, so I don't know how to show you exactly what I'm looking for. But I want to show, like, the first thing you're going to notice, we're going to see if we can turn it a little bit. The first thing you're going to notice when you look at both of these books combined here, you see the 6.5 of this one, the spine is kind of rolled over a little bit up here towards the top of the book, and this 6.5 doesn't have that. That's not going to murder your grade at all, but it will definitely affect it. And you can kind of see right over here where that spine roll comes into play. So right off the bat, when you see a spine roll like that, you know a press is probably going to be a good idea for your book. Other than that, this book definitely has fewer color breaks on it than this one. There's a color break right up here in the top. No real spine ticks, but there's a decent sized color break right there and right here on the cover that this one does not have. So good sign on it there, but you can also, like I said, that spine roll, if you don't press that out, it's probably going to get pretty close to the same grade. Like I said, just these two minor color breaks right there, and you roll it back over so we can compare the backs. The backs, oh, lucky us, I didn't even do this on purpose. It's the same back. Perfect. Perfect. So this one is a lot lighter. Just on eye appeal alone, it's a lot lighter. You see up here in this little top corner, give me a little bit of zoom. Up here in this little top corner, it looks like very, very, very faint water damage at this top corner as well. Very faint, very tan cover compared to the Thor book. Very tan. So good news for us on that. This Thor book is looking to be a decently high-grade comic. Alright, so there's not really much else you can do when you're comparing books like this that are already graded up and slabbed. Obviously, you're not going to crack your slab ones, so you can pretty much only compare the covers and a little bit on the spines. Don't see any spine ticks on this one except for in the top. So I can see one spine tick on this one, and I know of 3 on the Thor. Alright, so let's look a little bit closer at this back cover. I don't see any tanning except for this little top corner right here. That's about the only real splotch I see. Otherwise, it's not a bright white cover, but it is a lot brighter than the other. Alright, so let's lay it down. Alright, open that first page up. Oh, look at that. The spine is still tight on there. It won't lay it completely flat like the 20 did. So I'm going to go ahead and check the mycomicshop.com contents of this, and there'll be a cut right here, and let's go see how many pages and what we're supposed to be looking for. Okay, so this book has 36 pages in it, but since it's technically still a Journey into Mystery book, there's not just the one Thor story in here, so it is mostly Thor at this point, but there's still a bunch. So you got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, there's a little minor tear at the bottom of this page. So 18. Not old Loki in there. There's another tear right there. There's one of the ads that are supposed to be in here. Set sail. Here's the 5-page story. It's also a Thor story, I guess. And the t-shirt ad that's supposed to be there. And the checklist ad. Alright, perfect. So it's complete. We don't have to worry about an incomplete, though this will definitely be getting a blue label. Everything is there. The page quality of this is a little bit better. I'd say off-white. Off-white pages. It's a little bit better than the other. The other one was cream to off-white pages. This is definitely just off-white. There's no shot you're going to get white pages. Maybe off-white to white at best, but I would go ahead and just bank on off-white pages for this book. Go ahead and look in here at the top. I definitely think I should press this book, but the problem is I don't have a presser, or at least anybody that I trust to press my books. So I might just send it off to CGC, get it back. This isn't a PC book. I picked this up for trade bait. I don't really collect Thor. I'm a Fantastic Four and DC guy, so, and a little bit of Spider-Man mixed in, but I've been selling off my Spidey stuff. So probably going to send it in just out of sheer curiosity of what it gets. I've noticed there's a lot of indentions on it, and I can't really tell through the slab if there's any indentions on this cover. Yeah, you know, I can't really see through the slab like I can see through here because of the plastic. Let's try with the 5. Yeah, it's just not going to happen through the slabbing. But there's some indentions on this one, and the indentions are what's going to hold it back a little bit from where it could end up being. But just at this, just first impressions when we grade it, you don't want to spend all night long all with me. So first impressions when we grade it, I would call this Thor 7.5 to an 8.0 comic book. If you grade it, it's probably an A. If you press it, it's probably going to be an 8.0, I mean, but damn, this is a very nice comic book, very nice. So 7.5. The reason we did these 2 books for the video instead of just doing all 4 that I have set out here, I wanted to do the lowest grade and the highest grade so I can show you both things you want to look for. You want to look for the same stuff in every time you grade a comic, especially from the Silver Age, because everything is going to be pretty well similar to, you know, you want to see if it's complete, you want to see if there's anything that, you know, nothing cut out, no names written in the damn cover, in the comic. That sucks. But, whoa, we're close to a tape pull right there, we would have cried. Well, we did these because they're both Silver Age books, they're both Marvel books. Marvel tends to be a little bit more popular than DC does. So we did these two on camera. Afterwards, I'm going to go ahead and grade 58 and FF Annual 6. So we have these. I know Very Gary's been running the world with Annual 6s on his YouTube channel. Love that book, love Annihilus, so we're going to go ahead. I'm definitely going to send off Fantastic Four and Fantastic Four, I guess. Definitely want to send those off. Probably not going to send off GL, but this one's super high. Well, not super high, but for Silver Age, pretty high grade, so I might send that one off as well and then sell it. Okay, so my camera's about to die, so we're going to kind of hurry up and do this outro. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and you maybe you learned something that you can use for your own grading. And maybe I said something stupid that you can correct me on. So I appreciate you checking this out. And there will be a follow-up video to this quite a while down the road, I guess, whenever these books come back from CGC. And we'll see how I did. So since it's public, for my guesses for both of these books, I haven't put Thor back in the bag yet, so we're going to be pretty careful with Thor. Since I publicly stated what I thought these were, definitely going to be sending those 2 out in the CGC submission, and probably sending out just Annual 6 with it. Just send out those 3 for the first actual channel submission. And we'll see how I do. On the description below this, I'll have what my guess is for Annual 6. So, I hope you enjoyed, and hopefully you got something out of this. I had fun making this. This is completely different from what I usually do. I'm not reviewing or opening boxes, so this was cool. And I'm going to go ahead and get this book in the bag and get a fresh set of gloves and get done with the rest of this grading. You have a great night, and I will see you next time. Appreciate you checking it out. Goodbye.